Hey, it's Rich. How the heck are y'all today? I know, I'm a day late. I have a good excuse though. Uh, Things really started changing over the weekend and the first part of the week uh, with the food situation, things of this nature. So I wanted to go ahead and make another video today. The other one, by the time I got it done and edited, it was out of date. It really was. So yeah, I mainly was trying to get everything caught up. So you get it a day late. Uh, yeah. Plus, I had a real problem with it. I had to get into a few items that kind of ruffled my feathers, and I thought, yeah, it's not, it's not where I want to go. But then, gosh, today, I clicked on the news for a minute just to see what was being said. Now, I had checked last week, toward the end of last week. As you know, I do. I check in with the CDC to see kind of how, where, and the who, what, when, where's, why's, and how's everything is going on. And I get hit with, and it really shocked me because it was like, oh, wow. You know, uh, it was ABC News, and they were reporting how close to 100,000 people had now passed away from this coronavirus pandemic. I'm thinking, whoa, boy, the numbers really must have jumped up. So I went and checked. No. The media is lying to you folks about the totals. You can go out to the CDC, they've got the real facts. And they break it out. Standard influenza, pneumonia, and influenza, because it usually is caused by the influenza, its totals. Same thing with the COVID-19. Okay. Right now, COVID-19 is still lagging, probably 10 to 15,000 behind the standard flu uh, and its complications. I think that's going to change by the end of this because the new or the standard flu's figures have dropped off dramatically with the change in weather, and also from the coronavirus is dropping rapidly. Okay, but it looks like it's going to be a race to the bottom, and right now, the standard influenza seems to be clearing up as far as fatalities a lot faster than the coronavirus. Last reported up-to-date record on it was the coronavirus was still responsible for like 2,200 deaths the last day of the report here in the States, and regular influenza was down to like 250. Okay, but the coronavirus has a ways to go to catch up in numbers to the normal influenza. So we dodged a bullet on that one. But they were making this big hoopla over if it jumps back up this winter, it's going to be because these states have mismanaged the lockdown. Okay. I got news for these reporters. If you took people out and didn't let them get infected by this virus, next winter it's going to come back stronger than ever. Why? Well, because you have to get it unless they come up with a vaccine. Okay, now vaccines artificially stimulate your immune system to build antibodies to a particular disease. If they come up with a vaccine for it, that'd be great. That should hold the numbers down some. But for the most part, you got to get it to get immune to it. That's the way the viruses get dealt with. Okay? And since most people were not exposed to it because of the lockdown, come next winter, it's still out there, folks. I mean, it's not like it went away. And it'll be waiting for you. Okay? Be advised. This winter, I would strongly urge to keep not the lockdown in place because we can't afford that no more. Uh, but still use some precautions. Kind of keep your distance. Might want to keep your masks handy, hand sanitizer, and spend the summer getting in shape and healthy. Okay. Now that's it for that. Okay. Be careful. The news agencies have been lying to you folks all the way through this thing with how dangerous this is. I mean, they try to make it sound like, oh my gosh, if you catch this bug, you're dead. And it's not, it's a flu. And while it's not a real mild flu, it's doing its numbers. It's a flu. That's it. What do you usually do during flu season? Kind of stay away from people who are coughing and hacking. Yeah, you know, try to get a lot of vitamin C and vitamin D and plenty of rest. Yeah. Wash your hands a lot. Yeah. Same thing the CDC is telling you about this one. Okay, it's a flu. It's a flu virus. That's it. Now, whether it was manufactured in a lab somewhere, who knows? Who knows? But the way it's acted, it's a flu virus. We don't have any kind of treatment for it. So now that, according to the CDC, is now deemed a pandemic. SARS was a pandemic. And we should have been looking for a cure for that one, of a vaccine for it. And since it only killed about 12,000 people here in the U.S., our pharmaceutical companies decided it wasn't worth the investment. Okay, so now we get to deal with the new and improved version. So, yeah, okay. So let me get that out of the way. That's where we're at with that. The news is still lying about it. They're trying to pad this thing to be sensational. That's all it is. Okay? And we're seeing a lot of places who are starting to try to turn it political. Good news, food shortages. While they are still playing with the pricing, the DOJ showed up at these packing houses doors and started asking questions. Suddenly, less foreign beef. They've been buying a lot of beef now back in our markets, although the cattle market here in this country is so backed up now from their foolishness. It's going to take a while to work through them. I know a lot of you folks are having problems getting where you're trying to buy from a local farmer and get it processed, and these small processors are backed up. The reason that they're backed up is you might want to pat these guys on the back, because they're the ones who's been getting the food on your shelf now. And before these clowns started in with their tinkering. Okay? These small processors was trying to pick up the slack, but they're just too little. Okay? So, and when the big guys decide to get back into the game, because right now they're running from the DOJ and the cattle industry. Yeah, they are trying to make themselves look good. Now, flip side of the coin, even though some areas hamburgers got up to like $12 a pound, and I had heard one report of, for a family-sized beef roast, yeah, over $100. Yeah, these guys are really raking it in. They're still going to be raking it in, because guess what they're doing now? Now they're paying way high prices for cattle. Now, if any of you guys out there are thinking about getting into cattle, and these guys are out here right now buying cattle at ridiculous prices, like I heard is upwards of close to $160 per hundredweight. Okay? Don't let the USDA or anybody else convince you that those prices are going to stay and you go out and buy a bunch of cattle. Right now, they're paying high prices. So if you got cattle to sell, now's the time. It is not the time to buy cattle. Okay? That's kind of from my consulting business. You buy now, you're going to be broke shortly. Okay? Because cattle prices will return to normal quickly when they work through this load. But hopefully the prices of meat and so forth are going to go down. Now, is that slowing the beef industry up any? No. No, it's not. They really ticked off the cattle. Okay? Now we're looking for ways to change this industry. You're going to find more opportunities to buy direct from farms. You're probably going to see those small processors get invested in to expand. Things of this nature. The cattlemen want to see these clowns gone. We want to put them out of business. Period. Okay? We are also going to start making it a big issue that if that beef isn't grown in this country, you cannot put a product of the USA on that package. And country of origin, these corporations hate that. But it should be on every product. Yeah. So, especially outfits like Cargill, Tyson Food, stuff of that nature, boycott their butts. Boycott them. I right now would pay twice the price if all I had was a very expensive chicken and Tyson. I'd pay the higher price. Truly I would. These people have ripped you folks off big time. They have ripped off the cattle industry big time. During a time when we should all be pulling together as countrymen and trying to help one another out. You know, like in New York, where they sent in some extra hospital ships and all that. You know. But now they want us to pay for their police and fire departments too. Yeah, that really ticks me off. It really ticks me off. How dare they? Don't come to us with your hand out because you guys are classic at mismanaging your money. Yeah, good at it. Don't come to us in a state that we don't have an income tax. Okay? And there ain't no way we're going to be paying one because of you clowns. All right? We'll be out there claiming skyscrapers on you. You know, we're going to pay for them. We're taking over. We'll straighten you out. Yeah. Okay, so that's where the meat prices are right now. They are paying very high prices for the cattle to try to settle the cattle industry down. But you're going to be paying that higher price. Understand that. So while it's good for the cattle industry momentarily, it is not good for what food is going to be going back out on that market because it's going to be at higher prices. Okay. So be advised. Okay. Stimulus package, I guess they've got that approved. Really? They had to try to cram in there. We're going to forgive college loans. Well, that's a soft spot for me anyway, because I went to college in my 30s while I had a family. Paid for it out of my pocket and what my employer contributed. And the reason I did it that way is because when I was younger, when I was in the military, so when I got out of the military, okay, I had other responsibilities, you know, and I went on with my life, and then I went back and got my education. Don't tell me you got to come out of high school not knowing really how to blow your nose correctly. You think you know a lot. You're going to find out about the time you're in your mid-30s how stupid you really were, okay? But yet you want the taxpayers of this country to pay for your bad decisions. This country's getting tired of that. Okay? There's no free ride, children. None. All right? Good grief. But anyway, I guess the stimulus payments are going to be coming out real soon. And here again, Democratic Party. We'll see how much nonsense we can cram in here. we need to really start leaning on these people. Uh, they need to. I personally think we need 3-party system in this country. It would kind of slow some of this nonsense down. Uh, but yeah, it's a mess. Anyway, not to go too long. But the cattle situation is getting straightened out, although the cattlemen are still pushing for the DOJ to actually really body slam these guys. They need to be punished. All right, what they're doing is wrong. Uh, this COVID-19 and all this stuff, folks, go to the CDC website. All right, get the numbers. It's very easy charts to read. All right, quit listening to the news. Quit watching the news. Let's put these clowns out of business. You know, that's the whole thing. We as Americans can stop all this nonsense we complain about if we just quit looking. If we don't vote for people who want to raise our taxes and spend our money like drunken sailors, sorry, I know some drunken sailors and they're not that bad. They at least spend their own money. Let's go on with it. We get people running around here in this country talking about socialism and anarchy. Yeah, we've already done these things in this country. We had socialism. After the Revolutionary War, we had anarchy for a while. We found out they didn't work. The problem with socialism, children, let me tell you something that your college professors won't tell you. The reason socialism never works is because there's lazy people in the world who would figure if I can have a house and I can have food and I can be comfortable and I don't have to work, I'm not working. Okay? But yet if you're going to be able to provide them with that house, the food and all that, somebody's going to have to work. People start catching on, I don't want to do that. I'm tired of working to provide for people who don't want to work. So suddenly your noble socialist program becomes a deal where people say, listen, I'm tired of taking care of everybody else. They need to come in and do their part. Technically, that's how it works. And in a perfect socialist society, that's how it would work. Problem is, you have lazy people. So then you have to have a strong man step up and say, I can make this work. I'll put a gun to their head and by golly, they'll work now. And pretty soon the gun's pointed at your head. Also. And now you no longer have socialism. You have communism. And they're now the ones taking all the goodies and leaving you the scraps. Because they got the guns. Yeah. They run things. Alright? Grow up. Socialism doesn't work. Never has worked. Ask your professor the next time they throw that out there. Can you give me one example of one country at any point in time in history and at any country in the world where socialism was established and lasted any length of time before it was either taken over by a dictator or like a communist party? Please show me one. Well, guess what, kids? They can't, because there's never been one. They all crumble the same way. Why? You have lazy people in the world. All right? I'm sure you got some friends that are. In fact, half of you college students sound like you pretty much are. I took on the responsibility of a college debt, and now I want somebody else to pay it for me because I don't want to have to work and pay it off myself. Sad. Truly sad. Anyway, see why I keep getting irritated with this thing? Every topic that I'm covering on this thing. Banking industry, I'm glad to see that the government and their stimulus packages kind of slapping their hands and saying, keep your paws off people's homes. You're not going to foreclose on them. Because they were coming. Yeah, we bailed them out and they were trying to kick you out. Really? Don't have a mortgage. Get your house paid off. Okay? Your house is not an ATM machine. Don't keep getting loans on it. That is the one thing you want to do. If you do nothing else with your life, pay your house off. Okay? That way, the most you got to worry about is paying your property taxes. Doesn't that suck? Right. You know, property taxes. Ugh. Anyway. But yeah, pay your houses off. Don't use them as an ATM machine. We have created more bubbles and more financial crashes because of that kind of thinking. Pay them off. Of course, you got all these financial. Well, you know, if you got a mortgage on your house and went over here and bought this stock, well, the stock crashes, you're broke, and they come take you home. Now you're not only broke, you're homeless. All right? Use your head. Your home is something you protect. Okay? Okay, we covered the meat packing. We got all the government stimulus. We got the college loan forgiveness thing. But yeah, the change in the rule is these meat processors, man, they are jumping through 85 kinds of hoops trying to get the government and the cattle industry off of their backs. I get what they think nobody figured out. Come on. Cuomo, you need to shut up and sit down somewhere. You're an idiot. And whoever voted for you, they're not any brighter than you. Well, no, in fact, they're not even as bright as you are. At least you're sitting there drawing a salary telling them to stay home. I love it. What about the governor of California? That's one way you guys get that state opened up. Tell everybody that's on the state payroll in the state of California, until you open the state up, we ain't paying no more taxes. Period. You all don't get a salary either. And get it opened up quick, then. I'm tell you. But it looks like we'll come out of this food shortage pretty quickly. They're really pressing it. Thank the little producers who are working around the clocks and have been for throughout this whole thing, making up for what these big producers were trying to do to you. So if you still have affordable beef in your area, look around and find out which local processors are busting their butts to make sure that you got reasonably priced food. Because that's who's doing it for you. Not these big corporations. It's little guys. You know, your neighbors. So, yeah, right now it's bad. They're kind of backed up. They're backed up trying to help regular people out. Kind of noble. They want to talk about people who are going above and beyond. These guys are. So, understand, and when things settle down, remember them. Okay? Still a great idea to buy your beef from the producer, take it to the processor. I'm sure the farmer would haul it there for you. Might charge you a little extra because you know how greedy we are. And process your own beef. Have your own beef processed. That way you got a freezer full of meat and your family's taken care of. Okay? Use some common sense. Use common sense. Life works out pretty good. Okay? Sorry this was late, but I wanted to make sure that what these numbers were, because as of Mondays, a lot of this stuff hadn't happened. So, and I was coming with a doom and gloom message. It's looking like for you guys, for people who are buying in the grocery stores, this is going to be a blip on the screen, hopefully. And yeah, they're gonna gouge you for some prices for a bit, but hopefully things pretty soon will return to normal. You do have the situation of the trucking industry where a lot of these over-the-road drivers, they didn't have the loads going, and some of these guys became unemployed and took other jobs. It's going to slow the trucking industry down a little bit, so it's going to kind of take a while for this to all cycle through the system. But we should come out of it. All right. Unemployment's real high. We're up around, 16%? You know, things of this nature. So let's try to pull together as a nation and, one, help out our fellow man, help out our neighbors. Two, these guys that are deliberately trying to hose you and lie to you and rip you off, deal with them too. Like I said, don't buy their product. If these politicians keep being stupid like they are, New York, you guys need to contact your governor and say, listen, we don't want to hear any more of your BS. You need to get hospitals set up in this city, and no, we're not giving you another dime. Go sell a light bulb factory. Light bulb factory. Or better yet, fire them and get somebody in who uses their heads. Okay? And I know New York's got to have some smart people. He gave us Donald Trump, so, and he's done a decent job. Matter of fact, this is one that you guys will hate to hear out there in New York City, but the man has done a pretty good job trying to keep his promises he made to the American people. Darn few politicians can make that claim. I've been watching him closely. I kind of figured he was a lot of smoke and mirrors, but the man has worked hard to fulfill his promises. As far as I'm concerned, good enough. Good enough. You've tried. Even if he hasn't been able to do everything he wanted to do, he tried. Right? So, with that, he's a man of his word. I know y'all say, oh, he lies. Look at the Cuomos and the clowns you got sitting in office out there. That mayor of yours, after telling everybody, oh, keep shopping. Yeah, he's hiding now, isn't he? Oh, you know, him and his wife are out walking around all over the place in New York, no masks either. They're the elites, though. They don't, no bug would get into them, for God's sakes. Hypocrisy. Quit allowing it. Okay? Quit allowing it out of your politicians. And fire them. That's what needs to happen. Fire them. How would you guys like to live in a place like wherever you're living and have half the property taxes? Well, they're not out buying light bulb factories. You could lower your taxes, couldn't you? Yeah. All right? Common sense. Good old-fashioned common sense. Y'all take care. We'll talk to you soon.